If you've been to a Northwestern football game recently, or more likely, gotten drunk on the Lakeville and happened to turn around, you may have noticed the temporary football stadium where the team's been playing until the new stadium is built and ready to be empty. The project to rebuild Ryan Field has been the subject of some controversy within the Evanston community, though, and you know what that means. It's time to take a big old SPAC pool high dive cannonball into the deep end. Wow, is it nice to be back. We know we've been gone for a while, and we missed you as much as you missed us, but you can save your tears now because we are back and better than ever, baby. So let's get right into it. Originally announced in 2021, Northwestern's plans outline a new stadium that is modern, state-of-the-art, sustainable, and expanding in order to accommodate more fans. What was that? It's getting smaller? Oh, okay, so that seating is more exclusive and ticket prices go up and... No? It's because no one watches Northwestern football games. Oh, right. Hey, well, that's a classic trick. You know, a lot of college boys say the same thing about their football fields, if you know what I mean. Big promises at first, but at the end it's just a little bit smaller than expected. Not me, though. Moving on. According to the school, the reduction from 47 to 35,000 seats will serve to make the stadium feel more intimate. Because as we all know, if there's one thing football hopes to foster, it's intimacy. That's why the players are always giving each other such tight hugs. In order to set the mood during games, apparently the stadium will be lit by candlelight and the marching band will be only playing Careless Whisper. And don't be surprised if Willie the Wildcat is suddenly sporting the new line of Savage X Fenty. Now, speaking about their desperate attempts to fill seats, the new stadium is also set to be one of the most accessible in college football. After you take 6 buses, the Red Line, a helicopter, get a boating license, rush sailing club, and sail 3 hours in headwinds to get there. But for real, though, the focus on sustainability and accessibility for the new building is great. But these efforts still don't address the big complaints of the people of Evanston, which mainly center around the plans to have the stadium double as a concert venue. University officials say it can also be used for public events for the community, and the multi-purpose space will bring in more revenue. So they might not sell many football tickets, but you better hurry up and reserve your seat for the annual Winter Dolphin Show. All that said, the residents in the nearby neighborhoods are understandably worried about noise, congestion, and alcohol usage. But I say good. Let's build Northwestern's reputation as a party school. We can be cool like that. You know, this weekend I went to a fundy where Boom Shaka played Metallica. It doesn't get cooler than that. Addressing the concerns over our awesomeness, in their memorandum of agreement with the city of Evanston, Northwestern agreed to comply with standard service laws and not to renege on its public benefits promises should their license be revoked. But this bare minimum assurance brings us to another issue: accountability. In addition to hiring local Evanstonians, or as I like to call them, Evanstoners, the university has promised that 35% of subcontracted spending will be reserved for women and minority-owned businesses. Well, now we know they're lying to us. Women don't exist. And even if they did, they couldn't run a business. Apparently unaware of this, Northwestern has also promised to publish public updates on their hiring progress. But given that they're still in the early stages, their transparency so far has basically been a big pile of dog dookie. I mean, it really shouldn't be that hard. Just gather all the businesses in one room and have the women and minority-owned ones stand. Notice. Thank you. Also, according to our resident mathematicians here at the Deep End, reserving 35% of spending still leaves 65% for the same old white men who really just thought Trump was better for the economy. Well, perfect. We love it when Northwestern microdoses diversity. It's always a good idea to approach diversity, equity, and inclusion the same way your freshman roommate approached shrooms on Dillo Day. But just when you thought the new Ryan Field couldn't get any more woke, the school is also required to use designated sustainable practices during construction. Due to the materials in cement, construction emits a large amount of greenhouse gases. In fact, the EPA estimates that the manufacturing of construction materials accounts for 15% of global emissions. Therefore, Northwestern has promised to recycle materials and to use low-carbon concrete. Now, as I'm sure you could guess, this hasn't exactly gone peachy keen either. For one thing, some of the concrete from the old stadium was found to contain lead-based paint. But I'd say, that's fine, build it anyway. The only real side effect of lead poisoning is, well, voting Democrat. In all seriousness, it would be okay if we knew Northwestern was actually working hard to follow through. Instead, they've been nothing but incredibly shady about its sustainability efforts. While the Evanston Roundtable has been trying to ask about their work so far, the school apparently learned nothing at all from my relationship mistakes and has ghosted all of them. Well, look, you don't have to be Bill Nye to know that demolishing a stadium and pouring concrete on the ground in a way that's good for the environment isn't possible. Saying it is just gaslighting, which incidentally is also bad for the environment. Actually, to put it in terms of arson, it's basically like Northwestern is saying, I'm gonna burn down your house in a way that's good for your interior decorating. Which would be great if I wanted like an open concept, open air living room, but unfortunately I'm not some insane millennial HGTV couple. I just want a home to live in and for Northwestern to not actively harm the environment. But apparently that's asking for way too much. At this point, they should just be upfront and honest about the fact that it will inevitably hurt the environment instead of hoping we don't notice the downsides. Well, spoiler alert, we noticed. It's hard to miss when they're reading the side effects like it's the end of a medicine commercial. But who knows? As a society, we'll probably move on anyways. We all know cigarettes aren't great, but they're still making a comeback. Or maybe low-carbon concrete is construction's new version of the vape. New, sleek, and still unhealthy. It's gross, but hey, call me when they make a low-carbon concrete raspberry flavored. Essentially, between their hiring and sustainability practices, Northwestern's commitment to accountability is pretty much amounted to, just trust us, bro. Evanston is like the girl at a frat party who gets handed a mysterious drink by a douchey guy who promises he poured it straight from the can. Except here, the red Solo cup costs $800 million, and the guy doesn't pay any taxes on it. I know the analogy doesn't work perfectly, but that's right, I said $800 million. It's no wonder they have to scrape up all the mod toppings money they can. And judging by the aforementioned downsizing, we also suspect that intimacy is just a cover for the fact that they cut costs by letting a DTC student design the building. Now, as we said, Northwestern's financial plans do include some public benefits. They promise upwards of $10 million in programs and donations to the city, hundreds of millions of dollars of economic benefits to Evanston and surrounding areas, and 2,900 jobs for local residents. You know, I hear they even spun it as a T&D about respecting construction workers. Now, of course, by locals, we mean Brad, Chad, and Shad from down the hall and Bob, who haven't been sober since Wildcat Welcome and insist that laying concrete will get them a bid from SNU. But hey, the deep end, where's all this money coming from? I hear you cry. Well, Ryan Field 2.0 is 100% privately funded, with $480 million of these funds coming from the mysterious Ryan. Now, if you're like us, you might be wondering, who is this Ryan character? Why does he want his name associated with Northwestern sports? More importantly, is he Welsh? Or was the arena built only by men from Wales named Ryan? Unfortunately, none of those are the case. Pat Ryan is just some billionaire businessman and alum of Northwestern who sits on the board of trustees. He also owns a majority interest in the Chicago Bears. Yet another thing ruined by the white man. The point is, and I want you to remember this, if Pat Ryan ever approaches you about investing in your football team, just say no. No! Regardless of all these setbacks and disputes, the construction has been making progress. According to a timeline of reports, on November 14th, the crews were preparing to place the first structural steel. Then, on November 21st, preparations continued to place the first structural steel. And then on November 27th, well, you'd never guess it, but the crews placed the first structural steel. I don't really know if we'll have a stadium, but gosh darn it, we will have structural steel. Meanwhile, controversy continues to surround the project as construction causes dust and debris to make their way into Evanston neighborhoods. Lawsuits have been filed against Northwestern as well as the city of Evanston, and there's been a growing movement to replace Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss, who cast the tie-breaking vote to amend city zoning laws in order for construction to begin. Despite the potential upside for Evanston as a whole, some are saying Biss is not giving proper consideration to his residents and is simply Northwestern's shill. Shill. Like a corporate shill, but like Michael Shill?
No? Okay, fine. How about this one? Bis, more like piss. Okay, blame the writers. I didn't, whatever. We don't want to discount the efforts Northwestern is making to give back to Evanston and build an inclusive, sustainable, modernized stadium. But that doesn't excuse disregarding the complaints from the real people living right behind Pat Ryan's newest ego trip. Luckily, Northwestern has reportedly found a way to address the sound concerns while also increasing ticket sales. So get ready for the new silent section during football games, where students can come to do their homework in peace when Maine is closed.